right. Welcome to another episode of Drink While You Think. Very special episode, you can tell, because look who's back.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Second time around.
You are the only guest we've had thus far.
Oh.
So after you've been back twice, you're like, think about Saturday Night Live. Who's like the most, who's been on the most times hosting Saturday Night Live?
It's like
Probably Alec Baldwin.
Steve Martin or one of those guys. Right?
Anyway, it's legends, just like Will Lopez. Legends.
Yeah. We're gonna have a room. We're like after the fifth. After the fifth, you get a jacket.
Yeah.
The green jacket.
The green jacket.
This is awesome. So obviously I'm down in Florida with Will. This is great. We are at a place called 26 Degrees Brewing. Very cool brew spot we're at. So
Cheers.
Will, cheers. Will, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking an immaculate IPA, 7.8, I believe, on the Richter scale. I'm a firm believer in starting out pretty high because then it's just downhill from there. Literally, it just goes downhill.
There you go. That is always our plan. I'm drinking the Renegades of Funk.
The Renegades of Funk.
It's a saison, which I'm kind of pretty tasty. So, Mr. May, what do you got there?
I've got the Funky Buddha French toast brown. Oh, double brown.
Dude,
So,
Funky Buddha is from right down here.
Yep.
And yeah. So that's actually, I mean, I'd love to say you knew that. Did you know that?
You think I didn't plan that?
Dude, that's
Funky
solid.
Buddha's a Florida brew.
Yeah, that's right down here. So we're drinking the Florida brew. So
So I'm drinking
Cheers.
French toast from here.
that's awesome. Well, in our usual way and drink while you think, it's just a matter of hanging out with some friends, talking long enough to finish a good drink.
I beat you though, 8.8 on the record.
8.8? Oh, boy.
All right.
I think I lost. Mine's only 6.0. I'm the lightweight of the group.
Yeah.
So, anyway, we'll see how this goes by the end of this round.
You just double it up, and then you're up to the 12s. So.
Yeah.
We're going shots next.
What do you got? What do you got for us today, Kenji?
Let's jump in as usual. We just like to go round robin, kind of ask a few questions. Well, since we're here in Florida, this is probably more just to Will. I feel like Florida sometimes gets a little bit of a bad rap.
Yeah.
You always hear these stories about a man in Florida, and it's always some ridiculous story.
Yeah.
Was driving with a gator in his car and went off a ramp into this, whatever. You're from down this area. So what area are we in here in Florida?
So we're in Fort Lauderdale at the moment. And, South Florida is one of those weird parts of the country. There's a tri-county area down here. So you have Palm Beach County, which is where I'm located, Miami-Dade, Broward. And it's just a long vertical stretch, from the coast to the Everglades. It's maybe 3 to 5 miles wide, but it's hundreds of miles just vertical. So if you want to travel down here, I mean, it's 60 minutes one direction, 60 minutes the other direction. I drove 40 minutes down here to go visit Kenji. It's just, you get so used to the driving. But yeah, that's pretty much South Florida in a nutshell.
What's maybe one surprising thing that people from South Florida don't know about? Yeah, we know the silly Florida story, the Florida man.
Right.
What maybe something you love about South Florida? Maybe most people don't know.
Yeah, I mean, what's really interesting about South Florida is obviously there's a lot of water culture over here. So, I mean, there's a lot of kiteboarding that's going on, a lot of skiing, a lot of jet skiing, which is really, really nice. And then if you go on the other side of not so much of the coast, but of the other side of the city, you get into the swampy areas. So there's a lot of airboating and just kind of dune bugging out there. And kind of more redneckish, I would say.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's definitely a culture here of wrestling gators and and quite honestly, there's been a huge spike in
Gator fatalities.
Yeah, I was going to say more python snake appearances, because a lot of people down here own snakes and then they get too big and then they let them go into the Everglades and it's like killing a lot of the wildlife down here. So one really cool thing, water life. One not so cool thing, the things that are in the water life, like snakes, that can literally eat you alive.
That's funny.
Woo! Yeah, so you get a lot of stories like that. Like somebody found like a 20-foot, python in their backyard, and they're calling animal control. It's so crazy.
It is crazy. It's crazy.
I thought you were totally going the Robert Kraft angle. When you're going to that, I thought we were going to NFL stories into Tucson.
It's not far away from where we're at now. Yeah, South Florida. That's I don't know about too soon. But, I don't know. We have a PG rating on this. I'm not sure what we have on this.
We do give NFL news to people, evidently. So
that's true. Yeah.
That's for you, David Larry, right there. So.
All right, so we'll go back into the accounting world. Yay!
Yeah,
there goes half the audience away. But lots and lots to talk about bots and AI, and
we're going there. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'll take it a little different angle. I mean, there's a lot to talk about it, but like, what is your perspective on where AI really is here in, what the impact AI is having in the accounting space? What's your view on it? So, Matt, do you want to go first?
Sure. I think it has huge potential, right? But the thing about AI, at least as my mind understands it, is you have to have an enormous amount of data to make it make sense. So I don't know, you and I have talked about building technology and building things to make accounting systems work, and we've seen all these people raise money, and where we always came back to why we weren't doing that was that QuickBooks and Xero are the ones with all the data, right? NetSuite has the data, Intact has the data on a much grander scale than we can ever have. So if AI is really data dependent, then it's really hard to say that a startup can kind of disrupt that space if they don't have all the data, because it's not all these financial things that we're looking at are they're private. It's private information, right? It's not publicly held, so it's interesting. So that's kind of my, kind of sharing with everybody. I guess I haven't talked to Will about that, but that's kind of why we didn't jump in and build that, kind of AI and start going down that path.
What's your take on AI, its impact?
Yeah, I think accountants do a really good job of hyping up AI. I think it's one of those conversations like blockchain that you can just go into a room, say artificial intelligence, drop the mic, and everybody just starts cheering. I don't think it's anything really at the moment that anyone should really get excited about. I mean, it's making slight penetration into the market as far as like usability and functionality from a really fundamental level, but it's nowhere near the capacity or at least the power that like Google is doing, right? So like, I mean, Google recently released out that AI function inside Gmail where it's like completing your sentences and it's learning how you're writing. I mean, that's really functional, and you just don't see that in accounting. That's not to say that AI isn't being used. I think it is being used, but it's not at the power at what I think a lot of the commentators out there that are kind of like taking a premium on the topic, and just kind of becoming quote unquote thought leaders by just kind of staying cutting edge with the term. But I don't think it has a lot of power yet on the accounting space.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's incredible opportunity.
Oh yes, for sure.
Incredible. I mean, it's hard to think about another industry that has so much structured data. To Matthew's point, like they're in silos, right? So people who have them in big silos, like a Xero or Intuit, are like, us accountants nitpick on things about like, well, where do you classify cost of goods sold and how do you do things? Yeah, those are kind of accounting nitpicks, but like overall, it's really pretty structured data, which should be very, very good ultimately for AI. And I think it would be cool when we get there around finding more and more tools that will let accountants actually do the more interesting accounting. But yeah, I think we're early. We're still early. early, in particular, the accounting industry tends to be one of those. It tends to be a little bit later to the game on technology than in other industries.
But
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of apps kind of want to get the upper hand a little bit by kind of flirting with the term, teasing the term. Like maybe they have a little bit of AI and machine learning in their app, and all of a sudden they are an app that uses AI. You know what I'm saying? So like I think there's definitely a lot of that going on, kind of stretching the concept of the term and the use of it. But you know, as it stands, I mean, pretty much the only leaders that I see really introducing like machine learning and AI are people like Zero and I don't even know if QBO has anything like that.
yeah. And then I think one of the points Kenji usually makes, I was surprised you didn't make it, was that the AI that's going to make an impact is not the AI that's going to figure out how to code things. It's gonna be the AI to figure out how to change behavior after it analyzes something. It's like, hey, you usually do this when this happens ahead of time. It's a proactive alert kind of. You know, when your bank account gets below $10,000, it's not an alert for the bank account's below $10,000, and it's below $10,000, and you have a payroll coming up, and you normally have X amount in your bank on this day of the month, right? That's the kind of AI that gets exciting, and most people are just dealing with like the which bucket to put it in AI right now, right? Or that's the ones in the press and raising money. So I think you always make a good point about that, Kenji, is when you're like, yeah.
I'm just absolutely amazed you listen to me. I mean,
every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Well, it's sexy to want to build. It's sexy to want to build technology, right? So I think you always kind of hone it back in, like, well, why build technology if you're not going to change a decision? Why build a technology if it's not going to help you do something proactively, right? That's a cool technology to build. So we'll get there one day. We'll figure out what we want to build.
Okay, for sure. All right, I'll switch it up. Totally different gear. I thought about this today. It's part of why I don't have my glasses on. I actually went for a run. The weather down here, it's raining right now, but it's been gorgeous, which is apparently nowhere else in the country is getting this. It's amazing. But
yeah, we're experiencing a terrible polar vortex at like 90 degrees.
It's really kind of unfair.
I had to put short sleeves on in Atlanta because it's 70 here. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so it was nice kind of getting out and working out. Like, isn't there a saying, something about like, don't ever ask someone who does CrossFit about CrossFit? Isn't there some kind of like...
Yeah, well, I think the rule is... rule of CrossFit is you always talk about CrossFit. So
it's the opposite rule of Fight Club. It's like
it's the opposite of Fight Club.
The anti-Fight Club. You're a big CrossFit dude. What do you love about? I mean, is that your go-to kind of workout? Like,
it really is. I mean, I've never been into fitness my entire life, to be honest with you. Like, never been into sports, never been into fitness, and like, you could ask my wife about 5 or 6 years ago. I just woke up one day. And it was like 7 a.m. I'm like, I think I'm gonna start working out. And she rolls over, okay, mumble something, yeah, whatever. And there started my journey, you know. And so like I started running a little bit more. Somebody said, oh, you should try this thing called CrossFit. I said, all right,
no, you know, not you too.
I'm pretty fit, you know. I run, you know, I do 5 miles, 10 miles. And then I started CrossFit, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not fit at all. So, I mean, it's kind of like my go-to. Obviously, you know, as accountants, there's a lot of stress, right? You know, we got public accounting is not for the faint of heart. So we do a lot of these, and then we do a lot of these in order to for the stress to go away. So Monday through Friday at noon, I go work out at a gym, at a CrossFit box that's like 2 blocks from my office. So I ride my electric skateboard there, and it's a nice break of the day. Like, you know, it feels like 2 separate days when I go into the office, work 3-4 hours, go hit the gym, come back, finish off the day. It's a really nice break in the day. So,
what's your current go-to, Matthew? What's
TRX? TRX. I like everything with your own body weight. Like you start
getting all the bands though. Like, do you use the band?
Yeah, it's actually, I think the Navy SEALs invented it, but it's like you use this basically rope that's hanging from the the wall, like these bands hanging from the wall, and you do different exercises suspending your body weight. So it's mostly controlled stuff, and you can't really mess it up.
I just like how you just associated it with Navy SEALs.
Yeah, Matthew the Navy SEAL.
So I mean, that's now it's just like.
Well, I'm just like having to up the ante on the CrossFit stuff. Like that's fucking wussies, right? That's like some commercialized version of it, like the Navy SEAls TRX. Give me a strap and a hook on the wall, and I can get fit. That's the Navy SEAls, man.
Okay, so you want to? I'll go there on commercialized. Because you know what I've been doing lately? Yes, the ultimate of commercialized exercise, the Peloton.
Yeah,
That's been my jam lately. The Peloton, that is probably the opposite of what I don't think any Navy SEAls are allowed to touch Pelotons. I think it would just kind of
Navy SEAls aren't allowed for that.
But I tell you what, I love it, man. It's awesome.
That would be a dishonorable discharge. So
I can't help it. I love my 30-minute 80s R&B hip hop class. I mean, come on, judge me by that. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Anyway,
yeah, now that's out now in YouTube land.
I know it's out there.
So,
I mean, maybe
this will come back and blackmail you.
I'm sure it will.
It's pretty funny.
Pretty good. So we talked a little bit last time we were on, just about how you actually were one of our influences, motivation for doing video. So we're trying to get better and better about doing video. What have you seen in your practice, your firm? As the music cranks up here, it could be a little loud in the background, but we're getting near the end here. How has this video and different ways of marketing helped your firm? You've done a lot of different things out there.
Yeah, it's funny. While I won't take credit for a lot of the video content that I'm seeing accounts do now, it is really exciting to see a lot of accounts produce video content. I'm thinking of Catching Clouds. Yeah. I'm thinking of you guys. I'm thinking even Nicole McKinsey recently. Somebody's doing something on the stage here.
Yeah, we can hear. Don't worry.
Live trivia. We didn't know.
Live trivia.
Wrapping up drink while you think sooner than we thought.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can help us answer some questions here.
I'm your better bet, probably.
But, seeing a lot of the video content that people are producing, I'm kind of really excited that accounts are getting in front of the camera because, accounts in general are kind of just shy individuals or just not well spoken when it comes to trying to communicate very technical concepts in an easy way. So it's a nice thing to practice in front of a camera, especially when other people are relying on it. Because you try really hard to take these really hard concepts and break them down in a very digestible way. So for me, that's been my ultimate goal. It's my ultimate goal has always been to try to take what I do every single day and boil it down to something even more simple for someone to digest. And quite honestly, it really breaks up the day. It's just another way for me to do what I already do, but in a very kind of different medium, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, Matthew, what's your take on video content?
Well, there's two kind of pieces to that. There's the stuff you put out there publicly, but that I think Will said it well. It's just great to have people out there putting out quality content, especially people we like that seem to be intelligent. But the other thing we're seeing after we had a guy named Brad Stevens come in and coach a little bit on our team, and it changed our sales team's proposals now. So our sales team is doing video clips, walking people through the engagement letter, emailing them the video clip, 2 minutes of video, walking through the engagement letter now. I just hope that we can start incorporating more and more of those things so people can kind of access our face-to-face on demand as opposed to in scheduled video calls. The potential there is we're just, at Acuity at least, just scratching the surface on what we can do. I know Will's been doing a bunch of that too. With his clients, is even kind of recording what even the sessions that you guys, I think you said you record sessions that you do with folks so they can see them later, so they can remember what you guys talked about. Yeah, and that's awesome. But even the snippets, here's the engagement letter, and here's the 2 things, and here's the 2-minute version of this, or here's your financial statements is the next one we need to tackle. Here's your financial statements, this is what I noticed this month. Here's the screen share, send it off. And they watch the video and they ask more questions and come back. That's where this needs to go, especially for this fractional work.
Yeah. Our team lead, Sammy, who runs our bookkeeping team, has always, for years, done a great job of all of her training. She doesn't want to have to keep retraining. She has a very large team she manages. So all of her training, she's always videotaped and saved out there for folks. So she videos them, saves them. Hey, you want to go figure out how to integrate Bill.com and Xero, or how to go do this particular thing in Gusto. She's got all that saved out there. So yeah, there's so many ways to engage the audience. There's a way to engage, your customer. There's a way to even work within your own team. And I just think video is such a powerful tool. Really being able to.
It really is. I mean, you can approach video in a very conversational manner. So, like, I'm big on conversational marketing, and I think video probably is the best medium for accomplishing that specific kind of marketing. But like I've gotten into, I'm very excited to say that one of the line items in my revenue chart of accounts is passive income, like, creating digital courses for people to go through who can't afford our services directly. So creating content that they can enjoy, self-paced, and that's very specific to our firm is a great way to branch out into the other areas where people still would want to work with your firm, but can't necessarily afford your firm, but kind of still want that kind of content from your firm. So I've been able to accomplish a couple courses online where people are taking it, and obviously using YouTube as a medium for myself, I promote it on YouTube. It's open to the world. It's open for SMBs to find. They sign up for the course, and our firm makes money. So, it's a way to capture the attention of people who are, let's say, very, 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 very early in that startup, or even pre-startup for me, and like helping them through that process and think through that process while still getting kind of like the flavor of what our firm is, which is really great.
So the sun is kind of setting there in Atlanta. I can see with Matthew.
Yeah.
I think trivia is about to crank up here. I have one last question. Oh, okay, nice. I like that. There you go. Lighting. One last question.
The cell phones save us with the light.
Live trivia night. So here's my question. The live trivia, starting soon. If you were in a trivia contest, what is one category that they brought up, like the next category is going to be about these questions, you're like, oh yeah, I can dominate. What's like that secret category you would just totally crush it with a trivia team? What's your secret skill in trivia? Okay, I think we got a moment to answer this. Matthew?
I usually go sports, and if you get more narrow, Atlanta Falcons. I'm pretty good.
Atlanta Falcons.
If you get me in kind of 80s and 90s sports, I'm pretty good.
80s, 90s sports, Atlanta Falcons. Okay, I would say I'd go late 80s, early 90s hip hop.
Interesting. Wow.
I think my favorite genre of music.
Yeah.
That's just kind of like
your brother would be proud. So
it would be. My youngest brother, the pseudo rapper, would be proud of this.
Yeah, I would say 80s movies. So
that's a good one.
Any kind of like theme or genre or coming to age film that was like heavy in the 80s. I think I've seen literally every movie that ever was produced in the 80s.
So basically, if anybody has an 80s trivia night, invite the three of us. You're solid.
I'll take the music, hip hop. He'll take movies, and I have to take sports. We're here for you. Where is 80s trivia? Someone tell us. We'll do our next drink while you think there. Follow us on. So,
yeah, put us on there. Give us 80s trivia. Just challenge it. We will answer the call. So
that's fun.
Awesome. Well, cheers to you, brother. Thanks for having you on. Man.
Absolutely. Cheers there.
It's great to see you, Will.
All right.
We'll catch up next time on Drink While You Think. Who knows where we'll be?
Sounds like a plan.
See ya.
Sign in for episode 10.